Hello, I am Elizabeth. I'm the founder of BTBs, and I'm a holistic sexual sex educator. So I wanted to quickly go through just a couple of quick common questions that we get in this space, just to kind of kick off some free-flowing thoughts within sex ed. So let me start with, I have a list here. Okay, here's a great one. Is it normal to have an irregular sex drive? Yes, it is super, super normal. Your sex life is, like, I say this in every interview or any conversation I ever have, but it's like the rest of your human life where there's ups and downs, just like your moods will change. Your sex life, your desire for someone, your desire for yourself, just your desire to masturbate, it all changes, and it's all super contextual. So, for example, like, I feel like one of my pain points in this space is that doctors don't let patients know when they're going on SSRIs or any type of anti-anxiety, antidepressant medication that it can cause sexual side effects of being kind of disinterested. Oh my god, I can't speak. And my puppies are getting loud. But it can cause a decline in your sexual, desire and arousal. And that is totally normal. And I just wish more people were aware that sometimes happens. So that's just one example of ways that your context or your experience or your environment can impact your experiences. Gave them both little. Okay, I'm doing these rapid fire because I have 5 minutes. What are common misconceptions about the clitoris and female pleasure? The clitoris is the same thing as the penis to me in terms of pleasure. So the way that a man has to utilize his penis to reach an orgasm, we have to use and interact with the clitoris to have an orgasm. Not all the time. The science is differs by who you talk to, but it usually is around 90% of the time it's clitoral stimulation. Some people argue that it's even a full 100. It kind of depends. Is there a normal size or shape for genitals? No. If you're seeing a big difference in your own genitals, obviously take that seriously and talk to a doctor. But there's so many amazing people online. There's like one company called Vulva something, especially for women, because obviously I think there's a lot of pain points and shame around genitals for women because of the length of the inner labias can be so different amongst women. So just know that it's totally normal. And my friends and I, the way that I have a couple of friends that we've always talked about it, and some have insecurities around it and some don't. And now that we all talk about it, it's become something that is like funny and something that is not shameful. And once you start talking about it, you realize that it's just like not a big deal if you have longer labias, So literally just start interacting with a close friend, have that conversation, be like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling, if you're insecure, like I'm feeling so weird about this, blah, blah, blah. And start talking about it, because once you talk about it, you're like, I can't even believe I'm stressed about this. Is masturbation healthy, and how often is too much? Oh my god, masturbation is so healthy. It is such a necessary thing to do, to participate in, to play around with. I think there's one quote I love, something along the lines of, you have to learn how to play with your own instrument before you can be a part of the band. I wholeheartedly believe that when it comes to masturbation and doing that for yourself. When you're engaging with a partner and you have a long-term partner, you're not giving your wholehearted sexual self to your partner, because your sexuality and your sexual health and mental sexual health is a part of who you are. So I always say keep masturbating. How often is too much? Totally depends. I think for the vast majority of people, there really isn't a such thing as too much. If you are experiencing something where you can't seem to control it, or it really feels like it's interrupting your day-to-day life, then definitely seek out a doctor to kind of have a conversation about it. But for the most part, you're good. What does enthusiastic consent look like? I want to make sure to get this definition perfectly, but my first thought that comes to mind is that consent can change. So, marital rape was only became illegal in the later 1900s, I gotta get the exact dates, and sometimes I get nervous talking about things without the specific fact, but there's a lot of facts going on with this space. But just because you're with someone doesn't mean they're entitled to your body. So enthusiastic consent is the verbal yes, and if they then 20 minutes later, 5 minutes later, 2 minutes later, no, then the consent is gone. It is a no then. It's a full stop. So enthusiastic, yes. Verbal is really important. And then knowing that can change if they verbalize a change and you are not entitled to continue. How can I handle rejection in a healthy way? It's hard. I feel anyone going through any sort of pain or rejection in terms of their, sexuality or their sexual health or their partnerships or whatever it may be, know that it's experienced by everyone. I don't think there's a person on this planet that hasn't been rejected in some way, shape, or form. Rejection is redirection. So you can think about it that your one door closed and another door will open, even though and sit in the pain for a second, not too long, but you don't want to shut that down or shut anything you're going out of yourself immediately, because as Emily Nagoski always says, you have to kind of go through the tunnel to get to the end of it. So don't sit and wallow for months on end or anything like that. But if you're crying, like let yourself cry, let yourself feel your feelings, and explore those emotions. Would be my short answer. Okay, I have time for 2 more. What are the benefits of using sex toys? Sex toys are great. I am a huge advocate for sex toys. Some people have a belief that they will diminish your experience with a partner, but the only thing that really ends up happening is if you get too used to one sex toy, any sort of experience that you have with any, like a different toy, a partner's hand, it might take longer to reach that full level of satisfaction. But just because it takes longer doesn't mean it's not pleasurable. And sometimes when you take longer, it's actually a stronger orgasm. So I guess for that question, I'll just do that by busting that one myth. You can use sex toys. No, you won't get addicted. Play around with different ones to keep your kind of sexual curiosity kind of open to different, methods of like touch, I guess. Touch and pleasure and the way you feel. Whew. One more, and I'll have to make this one quick because I have 30 seconds. What are common myths about orgasms? A woman's orgasm is not that complicated, I think, is a big one. Clitoral stimulation is the way to an orgasm, and communication and time, giving it more than 5 minutes. Really being there for your partner and making them feel not stressed, and just to be able to breathe into their body and sit there and really feel, focus on the feeling and not, oh my gosh, are they bored? Is the time passing? And as a partner, that's a really great way you can help your partner get to their orgasm. But yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have other questions. Any question that you have, DM me, email me, whatever, and we'll keep adding to these lists and be able to kind of talk through things on this channel or / TikTok. I think it'll be both. Thanks so much.